Core TV News, expanding your view.
As preparations for the Osun State August 9 governorship election nears its climax, candidates in the election, especially those considered as frontliners, have continued to engage themselves in war of words over attempts to manipulate the polls results and who will ultimately come out victorious. The incumbent Governor Rauf Aregbesola and his political party, the All Progressives Congress, have issued a warning to its followers to resist by any means attempts by the PDP to void their votes, encouraging them to stay and watch proceedings at various polling units after casting their votes. The People's Democratic Party candidate Iyola Omishore, on the other hand, accused the APC of importing mercenaries from neighboring Oyo and Lagos states to disrupt the election. Another prominent candidate in the election, former Secretary of Osun State and candidate of the Labour Party, Fatai Akinbade, says the Osun people have rejected the APC and PDP. Therefore, the two parties in their desperation are relying on violence. The incumbent Governor Rauf Aregbesola had to battle in court for 3.5 years to have its mandate given by the people in the 2007 polls restored.
Work harder, we mobilize more, and we beseech God to crown our effort with absolute success. That's the lesson.
We are working hard from ward to ward, town to town, village to village, because the vote must count.
In the case of Alhaji Akinbade, the confidence is there because people are really yearning to come out and vote for me.
The June 21 governorship election in Ekiti State, which saw the APC governor Kayode Fayemi lost to Ayo Fayoshi of the PDP in a landslide victory, has also sent shivers down the spines of the All Progressives Congress in Osun State, as the party at the center have assured that it will repeat the same feat in Osun. However, the APC candidate Rauf Aregbesola has intensified his efforts to join forces with every relevant politicians in the state in order to ensure he comes out tops in the election. The first civilian governor of the state, Isiaka Adeleke, the immediate past governor Olaguseye Oyinlola, recently joined the All Progressives Congress with their followers and vowed to resist PDP takeover of the state.
I governed the state for 7.5 years. Akande has been governor. Isiaka Adeleke has been governor. With incumbent governor, we can always put our head together and get the best for the people of Osun State.
With me now, it have increased the margin by 30%. I'm looking at about 80%.
Again, the atmosphere appears tense in Osun as history has it that since return to democracy, no individual had been voted back-to-back as governor. In less than 48 hours, 19 candidates slug it out in the battle royale, which will produce the governor for Osun State. Campaigns, souvenirs, incentives and many more have been distributed to the people. If all of this actually translate votes, will be realized the morning after Saturday, August 9. Olajumoke Olatunji, Core TV News, Lagos.
Welcome back. Today, you've seen that report, yes. And then initially, before that report and the news, we're talking about a renting crowd and yes, all that processes. Now, what is usually the determinant factor in Osun State?
Osun is not different from other states. The determinant factors that we all know: one, performance, which is what we can say will happen in Lagos State. Credible performance that can be pointed at. That is a factor. Then the candidate's acceptability is another factor. Then the party strategy. Making three, the credible performance, the candidate acceptability, the party strategy. Those three factors. Then we can now talk about the availability of funds, because our politics in Nigeria is overrun by money.
Okay, so these are the things that will play out.
Those are the four factors that will actually determine the winner, not the crowd they are displaying. Actually, one of the factors is what determines the crowd. How much money a party has to play with will determine the crowd they have at their disposal, which is what we are seeing. And that is what actually brought the two parties, the two leading parties out, because they have the money to play with, the APC and the PDP. So they have enough money to rent the crowd. So the other candidates, if they have the funds, they will rent the crowd as well. But the fund is not available to them.
And they also have the same turnout.
Exactly. And you'll be surprised to see that the same group of people, some of them, you find in Party A, you see them to go and enjoy the privileges and gifts from Party B, and you still also go to Party C, D, up to Party Z.
So but where is the place of card-carrying members that has been always projected? You know,
the card-carrying members of the party are there. We have them in categories. The leading members of the party, they cannot be moving about. But the ordinary card-carrying members of the party, they can be anywhere. Where the manor wants to fall from, they'll be there to enjoy the manor and return back to their party.
All right. Now let's look at the two top contenders from the PDP and the APC. Coming from the same senatorial district.
Yes.
I don't know if that is going to affect the way the votes are going to be cast, because if one candidate, we know there is always this sympathy of, okay, the governor coming from our place, and then probably a large percentage of the people vote for him. But this time around, from two same senatorial districts, how is that going to affect the voting pattern?
Yes, you see, what happening is this. Number one, I said among the 4 factors I outlined, the candidate acceptability is very prominent. And that plays out more in his own senatorial districts. Where the two leading candidates are from the same senatorial districts, then you now ask, which of the two candidates is more accepted?
So, but don't you think it's going to affect the voting pattern?
Yes, from the little that I know within that environment, it will not really affect it much, because one seems to be more accepted than the other.
All right, so that is not going to be a factor.
It's not going to be a major problem.
All right, now let's look at Osun State generally. We've talked about that so many things that has to do with the elections. It's just barely 24 hours.
Exactly, less than 24 hours. Let us go straight, less than 24 hours.
Yeah, less than 24 hours to that election. Now, we've seen a situation, a trend in Osun State, where it seems the power of incumbency has not really played out in the past. Now, getting a governor to come back again and again. Now, coming from Osun State, what do you think is the major reason for that?
You see, what I said, let's go back to what I said, factors that determine the party's success, the candidate's success. Performance, credible performance is one. Then we talk about the candidate acceptability. What determines incumbency acceptability for another term is the performance he is able to show. So in the past, certainly, you see, the states in the southwest of Nigeria, they have citizens that are well enlightened, that have a higher level of objectivity in their reasoning. I think maybe I should say I tender apology compared to other regions. And you see, they are able to analyze more. They are able to take decisions objectively more. And that is why you can easily see in the southwest that a particular governor may not necessarily, the power of his incumbency may not count so much, because they are interested much more in performance.
Okay, then moving away from the candidates, let's look at the electoral body, the INEC.
Yes.
Now, how do you think, or what would be your assessment of INEC's preparation or readiness? Let's use that word, readiness, for the Osun governorship, based on everything that they've said and what we've seen.
Yes, INEC is trying, but we want INEC to be more open, to show more commitment and build more level of trust in the mind of the citizen. There are certain allegations that we are still expecting INEC to come out and explain that we are using high-tech voters card. I mean, voters ballot paper, high-tech ballot paper. There's an allegation towards that, which the APCs keeps shouting since after the Ekiti's election. We want INEC chairman to come out and make a categorical position statement on that. Is it truly different from what we used to use before? What we have been used to before? He should be able to come out to disabuse the minds of Nigeria, particularly the elites that are going to assess him at the end of his tenure. To let them know that there is nothing new, there is nothing different from what it used to be. It may just be a matter of design. There is no introduction of new technology to dissuade voters' intention.
Now, INEC has said that it is going to improve on the Ekiti elections and make Osun better. Now, there are a lot of commendations, both locally and internationally in the media, about the conduct of the Ekiti election that is been applauded.
And you know, I said same thing. It was accepted by the electorate.
Yeah.
No uproar, no objection, no agitation. It means it was accepted.
Okay, now looking at Osun elections now, INEC saying it is going to improve on that and make Osun better. What areas do you think is going to be should be made better from the Ekiti experience?
No, we want openness and credibility. No. That is all.
What's this openness that you kept talking about?
They are talking of, there's an accusation that PDP has brought in a large volume of ballot papers. The INEC should try as much as possible to be more open, allow every steps of their activities to be very transparent to the press for coverage, to let everybody see it. Should not create a dark corner, should not make any point of the activity, any stage of the activity to be shrouded in secrecy. So that at the end of the day, people will be, will be able to see, justify them. All we know is that Professor Jega has a name. He has his integrity to protect. He's not a professional in politics. He's an academic, and he should be able to come out at the end of the day to enjoy his recognition.
Okay, now let's take an issue that has come up with INEC during the last stakeholders meeting in Osun. Yeah. We are one of the participants from the All Progressive Congress is saying they are going to take snapshots of ballot papers as they cast their votes. And INEC is saying it's illegal, it shouldn't be done. No voter should take a picture of his ballot paper after some printing or so. Now, as a political analyst, where do you see the legality and the
You see, I watched the proceedings. Okay. They did not claim that they will take photograph of each electorate as they are voting. What they simply said, INEC initially committed a blunder by saying, the IG, Inspector General of Police, said, once you cast your votes to the electorate, leave the environment. That was what brought about that. Then all the parties in the stakeholders protested immediately. Then the INEC chairman now came up that cast your votes, remain calm, peaceful while you watch the proceedings. You can decide to record. He said you can decide to record proceedings, but you cannot take photograph of individuals casting their ballots. So then people applauded him. So you can record video recording of the proceedings as an entire system environment, but don't take camera on individual casting their vote. It's supposed to be a secret thing.
Okay, because the issue of taking the snapshot of the ballot paper arose from the issues you raised earlier of the technicality or so, or the scientific nature that's been alleged of the ballot paper. And that was where the issue of taking photographs of the ballot paper came
And
from.
you as
and INEC categorically, JIGA categorically said it's illegal.
It's
now,
illegal for
and
somebody to take your photograph while you are voting. It is not illegal for you to snap the ballot paper issued to you.
So if I, as a voter,
chose to snap
take my own...
Exactly. As an individual, I can go there, snap my ballot paper after voting.
You think that is right to do?
It's not wrong. It is mine. It is mine. Okay. I want to use it, probably to use it to cast out doubt. If I'm not being trusted, or if there is a doubt on my personality not voting for a particular candidate, I feel I want to really convince the candidate that I voted for you, I can pick my phone, snap it that, yes, this is my own in the box. You have to be kept within the box. Where you are not kept within the box in the table, where you finish, you snap it and you drop it. It's my personal. But no other person can snap me while I'm doing it.
Okay. But now INEC has said ballot papers should not be, photographs of ballot papers should not be taken.
No. INEC didn't say so. That's what I'm trying to say. Another person cannot snap somebody who is casting his vote.
A third party.
A third party there is, okay, I agree with you. A third party coming to snap my ballot paper while casting, while trying to turn prints, it is counted as a legal act. Are you getting it? So he was trying to let them understand that there will be transparency. You can bring out your video recorder and record proceedings at that polling station. So we will expect now the federal government to issue directives to the various security agencies that, look, video coverage of activities within that environment is permitted. But that is where we are now going to see if the federal government is committed and sincere with transparency.
Now, who is going to do that? Is it the INEC or the federal government?
No, the federal government deployed.
The sole responsibility of
INEC has given the directives that, look, citizen, at the ballots, at the polling center, you can take photograph of the proceedings. But don't narrow your camera down on an individual. Are you getting it? Even during counting, you won't narrow it on one person. Have a broader coverage of everybody involved in the counting, not just on one person. So INEC has given the directives that it is permitted, it is allowed. It is now left for the government that dispatched and deployed the security agents to the place to give the security authorities permits the citizen to take video coverage of the entire process.
Now, the electoral process in Ekiti has been applauded. And then we have Osun coming, and INEC has stated its readiness to make the election fair and transparent as possible. Now, what do you think political parties should do? We still hear about allegations and accusations coming up with the preparations.
You should expect that from our political parties. Our political parties, because of the nature of our environment, they are always desperate. They are always desperate because of the lack of the rule of law. The desperation is there. When we have the reign of rule of law, you will see that not too many people will be interested in holding political offices. We all know the truth that political offices in most cases is for personal aggrandizement. But once there is rule of law, you know that your right is protected, your living is guaranteed, your career is protected, then you will continue with your life. You may not even want to bother yourself with how the state is run. So, you see, our political parties in Nigeria and in Africa, they are always desperate to hold on to power. So we should not be disturbed and be surprised that they are always planning to rig elections. All the parties will be planning to rig. All the parties will be planning to bring in underage to come and vote if they have their means. But we expect the government apparatus to check all this, but not to be one-sided in their process of trying to bring about justice and fairness in the process.
Now, talking about planning, why should the parties be planning to rig instead of planning to win?
You say, even they said, jokingly, we say it's daily. that rigging is part of a election winning process. It happens in United States sometimes ago. Until we go completely electronic in our voting, that is when it becomes very difficult.
As some have agitated in the nearest past that going electronic will make it worse.
How would it? How would it?
And I think it's part of the reasons why INEC has not gone electronic, even with the attempt.
It is
Nigeria
because they don't want the process to be fair. We know electronic will now reduce it to one man, one vote. It is because the process where they are using it, it is not a concept that is just about to be brought up. It is being used in France election. We were watching it as individuals were voting, it was counting. It is being used in developed countries. Why not? Why can't we bring it in? But because we know that the moment it is brought in into our system, it will check political parties' manipulations. And the seat-tight government at the table will be checkmated.
But are Nigerians educated enough to be able to vote electronically? Looking at the level
what does it cost?
The literacy level.
What does it cost for you to present yourself and print the system there and you put your print? This is the party I want to go. That's all it requires. It does not require any technicalities or technology for every individual to do. You'll be registered, you have your voter's card, and with that, you go there to vote. Nobody gives you paper. Or the machine is there, just place or you see your parties listed, then place your thumb there. And it is immediately captured.
All right, now still talking about INEC, the preparations and all that is being put in place. The ad hoc staff, the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, the NYSC, has within the week said to the NYSC corps members getting involved in this election not to take any food or drink from any political party. Now, is that part of the stomach infrastructure of the
yes,
also being tried?
You see what happened is this, you cannot just make a statement like that. If somebody is hungry, somebody is not cared for, somebody is abandoned and neglected, and you have somebody coming to offering to you food that you needed at that very moment, will you reject it? So if the Director General of the NYSC wants to make provisions or wants to convince INEC, make INEC provide for those ad hoc staff which are going to comprise of the NYSC corps members, then they should be well taken care of. But a situation of telling them not to take food, not to take water from any political party agents when they are hungry should not be. They should be cared for. We don't know the condition they might be operating under. And you are not taking somebody needed water, should not take water from anybody. You provide everything he or she needed, then he may have good excuse of not taking anything from any stranger.
Now, what is the place of using ad hoc staff? And in an election that has to do with just one state and one election, just the governorship election.
Yes,
now, doesn't INEC have the capacity to handle the election 100%?
You see, it's partly to save cost. Let us give it here, and it should be understood. There are some jobs, duties that does not require any dexterity, special dexterity. Just all it requires is common sense. And you can make use of people at a lower cost. INEC cannot have enough personnel in a state, just a singular state, to cover the whole exercise. And transferring their personnel from neighboring states will attract extra cost, which might be much more than what they are offering to the ad hoc staff they will recruiting within that environment. So let's give it to them. The NYC are there. They are on national assignments. They can be given stipend just to do the job, and they can do it very well because they are educated. They have the minimum level of education required for the job.
Okay, back to the candidates. 20 candidates one governorship seat. Do you see that as a tight race, or?
Is it not, like I did mention earlier, the something is actually between two candidates. It is an overstatement to say free. By the end of the day, the Labour Party is just there to make it look interesting. All other candidates, they are there, as we all know, just for recognition purposes. That is why we are saying, look, let Nigeria have just two-party system, so that we don't continue to waste resources. We don't continue to create unnecessary tension anywhere. A situation where we have about 17 other candidates that you cannot even mention. I can't mention them. They are not known, but they are just out. Some of them cannot even campaign adequately within their local government. They don't have the resources to paste posters within a local government, and they offer themselves to be a candidate. Nigeria has not yet given provisions for independent candidates. So they should just be part of observers too and watch the process, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, then looking at Osun, you are from Osun State. The voting pattern from the rural communities to the urban centers, where will the majority of the participation come from?
You see, what happened is this, I've said it, who touched their lives. You see, watch this election, is going to be different, totally different from Ekiti. APC, as the incumbent governor, is doing fine, from what we can see in Osun. The two past governors of the state are there. So sincerely, if you look at what is happening, the ability of a sitting government to touch the lives of people counts so much. So the people, wherever they are, they will rather go for somebody who has touched their lives.
So that difference between the rural communities and the urban, and then the voting pattern, because I'm trying to look at a situation where the massive votes, those who participate really in voting, because you are from that state and you're a political analyst, then you should know which set of people participate and vote more.
It is the urban that will vote the most. That is where the population is. Where the population is, where the voters' education is more pronounced. The rural dwellers, in most cases, they want to see who has actually touched their lives, because they don't have as much political education and information as those in the urban settlement have. So the rural, all they want to know, this is the person that provides this, let us go. At the same time, they are susceptible to stomach infrastructure. They can be misled. So if they are not well guided, they can be misled. But the majority of the population is from the urban environment in Osun. You have Osogbo, you have Ilesha, you have Ede. All those places are urban.
Okay.
You don't categorize them as rural in such states. So those are the places where the population are actually Ife.
Okay. So this is where the eye of the candidates will be focused on.
Exactly. Ikiru is there. And you see some of these areas, they have been colonized by certain individuals.
Colonized? What do you mean, colonized by certain individuals?
You see, the people there lives, we have a large number of people living at the expense of an individual. Look at a case of Ikiru. The former governor is in control of that environment. And he was formerly in PDP before he decamped to APC.
Okay. Now, let's, because our time is actually up, and then I'm trying to see how to wrap up now. And looking at tomorrow, now the day has already come. after all the electioneering campaigns, all the persuasions, and all that happened. Tomorrow, people will be going to the poll to cast the ballot and then to see who becomes the next governor in Osun State. You said to an extent that earlier when we were discussing that the heavy presence of the military might stop some of the elderly from coming out to vote. But with the level of education, and because most of this military presence, I think, is in the urban areas, not as heavy as in the rural areas.
We're there also everywhere. In the urban, in the rural, they are everywhere. Are you getting it? But what I'm saying in essence is not that it will scare all of them, but it will reduce the number of a particular. I mean, the number of people coming out. If it affects just 2%, that it has its effects. Okay.
Now, just to round up now, looking at Ekiti election, and now we're going to have Osun tomorrow. As a political analyst, the peaceful conduct and the credibility of the election, do you see INEC achieving its set target of making Osun better than Ekiti election?
Yes. I pray, number one, I pray that everything goes smoothly. Then secondly, looking at INEC commitment, level of commitment. I see INEC doing the good job. The only fear I have is the government. This time, let us separate INEC from the government, the PDP government. Are you getting it? I hope with the allegation of the ballot paper moving from one place to the other, I hope it is not true. And once it is not true, I know for sure the government of the day, the federal government, will have kudos for the conduct of the election in Osun State, because I'm very sure I don't foresee crisis is erupting from the election.
All right, thank you very much, Adeyemi Rumo Laron, for coming on Core Digest today and for giving us in-depth information about the political process in Osun State. We look forward to a peaceful conduct and a transparent, fair, acceptable election in Osun by tomorrow, and hope when we call on you, you oblige us the opportunity.
I'm always available.
To be here.
I'm a friend of the house.
Thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
It's been Core Digest. We have to round up here because of our time. We've been talking with Adeyemi Rumo Laron, who is a political analyst, and coincidentally also from Osun State, to discuss Osun governorship election. We'll be rounding up here, and News on the Hour will be next. Thank you for being with us, and stay on the dial.
The deadly Ebola virus is again spreading in West Africa. The virus has fatality rates of up to 90%, meaning many who contract the disease die. A subcontinent have witnessed over 900 deaths. Please help prevent the spread of Ebola by observing the following precautions. This is a social responsibility awareness campaign of Core TV News.